everybody. So I thought it would be fun to just do a quick little live stream, see if any of you guys were online now and you wanted to talk about what is going down as far as the announcement with the Lion King live action remake that was announced this morning. And of course, everyone wants to know my thoughts on that. And I did post on my blog, but you want to make sure that you are following me on my blog. And I have because sometimes it's easier for me to post on there before I can do anything on here. But anyway, I just thought this would be kind of fun. And I have the chat room open if any of you happen to log on. But I'll basically kind of explain my thoughts on, first of all, sort of the live action remakes to begin with. So I am not, as a whole, opposed to remakes. You saw this. I actually thought that Magnificent Seven was fun. I liked Ghostbusters to a certain extent. I enjoyed it. And so I'm not, like, in theory objecting to all remakes. My problem is it's kind of the same thing with that you saw in my Pocahontas review. I'm not actually, I don't have a problem with historical inaccuracies. I have problems with historical inaccuracies in bad movies. And I think Pocahontas is a bad movie, and so that makes the historical inaccuracies worse. And I personally have a problem with the live action remakes that are bad movies because they have the good movies staring at them in the face. And so when they make lazy choices, when they make boring choices, it's frustrating. When they neuter their own characters, when they make their own legacy weaker, then it frustrates me very, very much. But as a whole, I'm not actually like anti-remake as some kind of protest, which I know other people are, and I totally get it. That's awesome. But I've so far with the Disney remakes, I'm 50-50. That I like. So I love Cinderella, and I love Pete's Dragon. Pete's Dragon really isn't a remake; it's only a name only. So I don't even really want to count that. In true remakes, the only one that I've really loved is Cinderella. Why did I love Cinderella? I loved Cinderella because it took the core story of Cinderella and was faithful to it and honorable to it, but did a few interesting, new, and different things to it that I liked. They expanded on Lady Tremaine's story. They made the relationship between Cinderella and the prince a little bit better and a little bit interesting. They had, I think, creative ways of showing the transformation of the different characters. I thought that was cool. I liked that I liked the artistry of it, I liked the costumes, and I really liked the message of kindness and courage and not giving up. And I felt like they focused on sort of the best parts of Cinderella's character and really made her strengths instead of in the animated film. Sometimes I feel like they don't sort of monopolize sometimes on those strengths. You kind of have to read through the lines, and maybe that's better. But I really liked the way that they just showed her persistence and her kindness and her courage. and my nieces walked out of that movie talking about kindness and courage and being a good person and not giving up and those kinds of things. And I thought that was just wonderful. And I liked the casting. I've liked the casting in all of these, to be honest, for the most part. And it's hard to think of a casting that I've just hated. I guess I wouldn't have done Ian McKellen, I think, as Lumiere. That doesn't seem to fit at all, but who knows? We'll see how it is. But so far, the casting has been pretty good. I did think the actor Charlito Copley was terrible in Maleficent, but there are a lot of factors that probably go into play with that. But he looks pretty good as the part. Anyway, and so that's why I loved Cinderella. It was one of my top 10 of the year last year. It was a movie that is very rewatchable, and I love the story of Cinderella. I love the story of hope, and I thought that it was true to all of those things. Well, excuse me. So then there are two that I have liked and I loved Pete's Dragon because Pete's Dragon was small, it was intimate, it was heartfelt, it was beautifully made, and I loved all the performances. I loved their take on the creature. So for me, it just was the kind of movie I want Disney to make. It was small, it was emotional, it was, yeah. So, but then I liked the Jungle Book. I didn't love it as much as some. I didn't really think that the music really worked, and I felt like it lagged in the middle. But it's beautiful, and I liked some of the changes they made. Actually, I thought they did fix a few things that I don't like about the animated film. So I think that was good, and they kind of told like more of a story, whereas the original film is more of sort of little singing vignettes, which I really think is charming. Anyway, okay, so I like those. I love Cinderella. I love Pete's Dragon. I like Jungle Book. Now, I don't like Alice in Wonderland. I just find they're trying to wedge in this hero narrative into a story that should be a series of vignettes. It should be fun. It should be light. It should be nonsense. That's what Alice in Wonderland is. I feel like when I watch those movies that the Tim Burton and James Bobman haven't even read the books. I don't think they have no idea about who Alice in Wonderland is and what makes those stories special, and it just feels unpleasant. And I know a lot of people love those movies, and that's awesome. But for me, they're just boring and and like bleak and just not what I want out of Alice in Wonderland. So there you go. So, and then Alice Through the Looking Glass. I mean, it just was stupid, in my opinion. You have they have you explaining things that nobody wants to know about. Like, why do we care how big the Red Queen's head is, or and how it got that way? Nobody cares about that. Like, if they had gone by the book, Alice Through the Looking Glass is a series of encounters while she's playing this chess game, and so it actually has like a certain narrative flow that they could have used to make a good story. But instead, they have this time travel and going back, and it's the kind of thing that if these two sisters had had a conversation over a lie about tarts, then like mass chaos would have been avoided, which was just stupid. And you're supposed to buy that there's this great relationship between the Hatter and Alice, and I never felt that in the first movie. And so it didn't work at all. It was a mess, and I didn't even think it looked that good. So that was a miss. And then Maleficent, I've talked about it so much on this channel, but I hated that movie so much. I hated the way they just neutered this character, basically had her getting raped, and then like becoming this sort of weepy, emotional character. And the way that they turned the fairies into these incompetent, neglectful people, and I thought, I just hated it all around. It's one of my worst movies I've ever seen. I hated it. So I have these strong feelings about some of these films, and there are some that I liked. But so now we've gotten all of these announcements. There's so many, and it's hi. So in a certain way, I'm like encouraged because there have been 3 in a row that have been good and that I've liked. And so I am sort of encouraged now to think, oh, well, maybe they're going in the right direction. But I still have that like, oh, that because those movies were really bad in my opinion. And so I don't know, I just feel this mixture of feelings about it. And so when I hear that the Lion King is getting remade, there's a lot of things that kind of go through my mind. First of all, I have absolutely no interest in this at all. I'm not saying that I think it's going to be a bad movie. It could be a good movie, but there's a difference between being excited for something and hating on it. Like there's somewhere in the middle, and that's kind of where I am at. Like I'm not angry. I'm not like infuriated. I just have absolutely no interest in it at all. And I wish it wasn't getting done. And it's certainly not necessary, but what movie is? So it could be good. All right, let's hopefully it will be. But I don't know. Like a lot of people ask me, are you excited about this? Absolutely not. I am not. But Am I angry about it? No, not really, because we do still have the original. We'll always have the original, and you know it. It's just a reality we have to face, is that these movies are being made, and I don't know. I'm kind of confused by it, because I feel like it's just like, at least with the Jungle Book, you had a human character, and so you had something to kind of ground it a little bit. And this is basically going to be an animated film, but it's going to be in photorealism. And I don't know if they're going to use the music or they're not going to use the music. And I don't know. It just comes down to what choices they make, and do I like the choices or do I not like the choices? Like with these other ones. But I have no real interest in it, but I hope it'll be good. It's basically how I feel. Now, I got pretty upset about certain things with Beauty and the Beast. And the reason why I got upset with things with Beauty and the Beast is because with Beauty and the Beast, first of all, people were asking me my opinion. I hope it will be good. But if you're showing me an image of Lumiere and Cogsworth where you can't see their face and it's all hidden and jumbled and everything, and you ask me, do I like it? I'm going to tell you, no, I think it looks horrible. If you're going to show me a picture of Belle where she looks dirty and she was wearing heavy boots and she looks like a servant, and you're going to ask me, do I like it? I'm going to tell you, no, I think it looks horrible. And so, that's part of the problem, is that people ask me my opinion and I'm going to tell you, but that doesn't mean that I necessarily think the movie is going to be terrible. I think it's probably going to be good. But what made me mad with Beauty and the Beast is that the director, Bill Condon, came out and said, well, I thought about what is the reason that we're doing this film. And he says, because now the technology has finally caught up to the vision. And that really annoyed me, because the vision was already met. It was already, there was no catching up to me. And, you can interpret it two ways, but the way I interpreted it is that there was something lacking in the original film, that they weren't able to achieve their vision, and now they have the technology that's caught up to their great ideas. And so that's how I took it, and that's why it made me so mad, because the thing that I hate about these live action remakes is that I feel like when Disney's trying to sell them, that they have to sort of denigrate the old ones in order to puff up this new one. And I don't think they have to do that. They didn't have to do it with Cinderella, I don't think. I think with Cinderella, they were able to say, this is our new one. And I don't know if that's just because there's more versions of Cinderella out there, but instead, I just so frustrated when, with Jungle Book, I just felt like there was so much of this is the new, better Jungle Book. This is the new, better way to do it. This is so innovative. This is so new. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to downgrade your own legacy in order to promote your newest property. And so when they said that in the promo about Beauty and the Beast, it really annoyed me and made me really upset. Now, I think that it will probably be a decent movie. I don't think it's going to be Maleficent bad. I really don't. They have a pretty good cast, and the director has done some good things. He has done some bad things, like the Twilight movies make you a little nervous, but it'll probably be fine. But if you're asking me, am I excited about Beauty and the Beast? No. And people ask me, am I excited about the teaser trailer? No. It was seriously a bunch of shots of the set and some music. I don't understand what there is to be excited about it. Am I dreading it? Did it make me angry? No. It looked fine. But I saw people crying and freaking out, and I don't understand that reaction. I just don't. It doesn't make any sense to me, because I don't know. I just don't understand why a remake of something that we have and is wonderful and is perfect on its own, why a trailer for a remake would make you cry. That makes no sense to me. I'm not against it. I'm not, I don't know. It's just crazy. So anyway, getting back to The Lion King, a couple other things that I wonder about is that I wonder if the voice actors will change, because all these voice actors are still living as far as I know. And so you could use them again. And I think, will they use the music? That's the other question I have. Will they use the Broadway music? Will they use the existing music? Will they only use like 2 songs like with Jungle Book? What will be their approach? I guarantee you it'll be darker, it'll be grittier. And so get ready for that. That will happen. And I have no interest in that. I don't need it, but it's coming, so I hope it'll be good. And I don't really think that things are better because they're really realistic. Like, that's not something that I really value or that wows me. I think that's why I wasn't maybe as high on Jungle Book as other people were, because realism isn't why I go to the movies. Realism is, maybe I'll watch a documentary or something like that, but it's certainly not why I watch animation, is for realism. So that's not really something I value. And so having a realistic Lion King doesn't really interest me, but hope it'll be good. So that's kind of where I'm at on this, is that I am, that's kind of my experience with these remakes, kind of where I'm at. I wish that Disney was going the route of Pete's Dragon and getting auteur, independent, interesting directors that are making things small and emotion driven. Like, I loved that movie so much. The script was so tight and the acting was good. They got good people, and that's the kind of movie that I want to see them making, not these big, bloated, boring movies. But that's what we are getting. So let's just hope that this Lion King is more. Let's hope they took the lessons of Jungle Book and will make it even better, because there is room for improvement in the Lion King. I'll tell you one spot where they could make it better. I think getting rid of the silly introduction of Can You Feel the Love Tonight, and I think having more of the characters actually sing the songs, I think could be better. But if they're not going to have the songs, then that's fine. But I think getting a little bit more into sort of maybe not skip over Simba's time with Timon and Pumbaa, and the sort of, they have that where he's growing up, maybe go into a little bit more of his growing up. I think that could be cool. But yeah, I'm not angry, but I'm not happy. So that's where I'm at on Lion King Remake. It's just blah, as far as I'm concerned. So what do you think about this? Are you upset? Are you outraged? Because I saw a lot of people that were really outraged by it, and I just don't understand why this outrages you and Beauty and the Beast doesn't. But I guess I have way more attachment to Beauty and the Beast than to Lion King. So there you go. But let me know. I do also think that Beauty and the Beast is a little bit different because Howard Ashman has passed away, and his legacy was so tied up into Beauty and the Beast that it just feels more frustrating to me. I'm more nervous about it, especially when they're supposedly making drastic changes and going in a totally different direction. That is one article, at least claimed I read, that they were making drastic changes. They weren't going to be able to use any of the new Broadway songs, and that makes me nervous. If they are making it so different, they can't use any of those Broadway songs. Oh, that worries me a lot. But I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I agree with you, Cadet, that it's unnecessary. I have no interest in it at all. But it doesn't really make me mad, I guess, is what I'm saying. I'm not excited, I'm not angry, I'm just blah. Are you angry about it, about The Lion King? Yeah, just put if you are. I don't know. And so the genius of animation reviews is speaking, Rachel. Everyone be quiet. So yeah, I guess from think about the rest of these that they've announced. So I'll tell you my opinion on them. Dumbo by Tim Burton, no interest in that at all. Actively nervous, especially after his Alice in Wonderlands. Okay, then the only reason that I'm semi-excited about Dumbo is because I hope that they can make the crows better and make them not be offensive and do that right. That's the only thing that I'm like, oh yeah, they could do that better. But other than that, sell that one. Okay, Winnie the Pooh was selling on that until Paddington came out. Loved Paddington, and there's a Paddington 2 coming out, which I'm very excited about. Paddington was on my top 10 last year. I loved it, loved it, loved it. And Abby says, I think Dumbo could be really amazing. It probably won't be. yeah, I like that. Yeah, it could be. Any of these could be really amazing. And I think that Cinderella was personally really amazing. I loved that movie. And so it could be. But we'll see what I think of Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Adults, because I'm Home for Peculiar Children. What am I saying? Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children with Tim Burton, because I have not liked a Tim Burton movie in a long time. So I think if I at least semi-like this movie, that will give me more confidence for Dumbo. But I don't know, just a live action, more realistic looking Dumbo. But I am, like I said, they can fix the crows, and so that's good. So then another one that they announced is Mary Poppins, the sequel. Mary Poppins Returns, I think is her name. Is the name. Emily Blunt and Meryl Streep are both going to be in it, and Lin-Manuel Miranda. That cast has got to get you excited. But again, the cast have been good for all of these. I don't know. This feels like it could be good, but it could also be like another one of the remakes I did not care for was Oz the Great and Powerful. And Oz the Great and Powerful, they were supposedly going more off of the books, and it was just like, oh, snooze. And I did not love the Mary Poppins Broadway musical, and that was supposedly going more off the books. So I don't know about this one, but it's a good cast, so hopefully it'll be good. And what else have they got? They've like announced everything under the sun. The Little Mermaid one I completely sell, but I admit it, that's mostly nostalgia. But I just don't see how they're gonna make that underwater world look good in live action. I just feel like, and I have the same concerns about Aquaman. It just, because at least with Avatar, they weren't underwater, and how do you make people like talk and them going through water and it make it not look really cheesy? I just don't understand. Yeah, I'm not expecting something good from Dumbo, Cadet says. Yeah, I have very low expectations when it comes to these movies. I guess that helps. Secret to happiness in life, as we all know, is low expectations. And what else have they announced? Pinocchio they announced, but we haven't really heard any details about it. That one has potential. I'm okay with that. Trying to think. They announced a Black Cauldron, which actually I think is a smart one to do because the original movie isn't very good. So the best kind of remakes, I think, are when you remake something that's not very good. You make it better. I don't think there's really that much potential to make The Lion King better. And like I said, I don't see any value in having a realistic Lion King. That just doesn't interest me at all. If it interests other people, I'll still see it. But if it interests other people, that's cool. But it just doesn't appeal to me. What else do they have coming up? They have Maleficent 2, which actually I hold a grain of excitement because I hated Maleficent, but at least this will be complete fan fiction and no attempt to mimic the original Sleeping Beauty film. This will just be because they can. I mean, where they ended the original Maleficent film is so different than anything in the original Sleeping Beauty film that this is just going to be complete fan fiction, and so maybe it'll actually be kind of good. I don't know. And I can't think of anything else. I guess they announced a Snow White a while back. Oh, the genies! They announced genies, and I have no interest in that either. I don't know. I just, without Robin Williams, I don't really have that much interest in it, but who knows? Can you guys think of any others that they announced? I know there's others, but oh, Cruella! I completely sell that one. That one sounds awful. Emma Stone playing Cruella de Vil in her like younger years. What we're gonna get, like the tragic backstory of Cruella de Vil. Oh, gosh, That sounds awful. Like, we don't need to have the tragic backstory of Cruella de Vil. I have no interest in that at all. Like, we don't need to make every villain complex. I mean, sometimes villains are fun, just being villains. So, oh, I'm trying to think, like, I mean, honestly, I think Black Cauldron is one of the smartest ones to do because that movie isn't very good, like I said. What else would be good to do? I don't know. I can't think of anything else. But, oh, Mulan. We're getting a Mulan. That one has potential because it's pretty much all humans. So, it could be. I mean, Mulan's actually pretty gritty when you think about it because there's like battle scenes and like they go into that burning village and there's like everybody has died and Li Shang's father has died and he gets the helmet and he's really sad. And so that idea actually I think could be something pretty intense if they do it right. And then also Sword in the Stone, which I think actually has big potential too because I don't think that movie's all that great, to be honest. And so I feel like there's room for improvement with Sword in the Stone. But pretty much, yeah, I don't know. It's just a bunch of little short stories. So with Sword in the Stone. So I think that's all of them. But you bet we're going to hear next the Lady and the Tramp remake. It's just. But I just wish that Disney wouldn't. In the marketing, insinuating that there was something lacking or that somehow these are better. And I felt like they've done that a lot with these. Like, this is the new, even in Maleficent when the movie starts, they're, you thought that you got the story. This is the true story. This is the real story. And that irks me very, very much, especially Sleeping Beauty, because they spent 10 years making that movie. And so for it to be replaced by just like something that was just shellac, in my opinion, was cheaply put together and cheaply made me really upset. Oh yeah, I forgot about Night on Bald Mountain, based on the Fantasia short. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty dark short. I don't know how you make a whole movie off that, but I think that they should do a remake of Newsies. I tell you that would be a good one, because they have all they made it better. Because it won like Razzies when it first came out. Like, people did not like it, and the adult parts of that movie are not very good. And so in the Broadway musical, they cut out all the adult parts pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And or they cut them way down. And so you could take basically the Broadway musical and make it into a movie, and I think that would be really, really good. So that would be one I would suggest. Also, I would be much more open to them remaking their live action movies instead of turning their animated classics into live action movies. Like, why not remake Pollyanna or Swiss Family Robinson? Or I just saw The Black Hole this week. That's awesome. That is really fun. I guess they did try to remake Tron. And yeah. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say. Do you guys have any other questions about any of this? I don't know. I just was so frustrated with that quote on Beauty and the Beast, about how we can finally realize our vision. That was really like just hurt, because I think that movie was fully realized vision. I think it's one of the best Disney's ever done. And so I'd always felt like Disney wasn't making 2D animated films because it just wasn't profitable anymore. I never thought it was because they didn't like it as much. And really, that quote, giving that as their reason, that's the reason to remake this movie. Yeah. Abby says, oh my gosh, I freaking love Swiss Family Robinson. I'd love a remake. Right? There's so many of these good live action movies that you could remake, and it would be awesome. Remake Treasure Island, remake how did I say Pollyanna, remake Old Yeller. That would be so, like, that would be great. Yeah, anyway, so, but that's not what Unfortunately, Tinkerbell, that's another one they announced. Another one, and Reese Witherspoon is playing Tinkerbell. I don't understand that one. I'm like, what? Like, I guess she's little, so that works. But I don't know. I always pictured that Tinkerbell would be younger. I mean, Reese Witherspoon's pretty old. So that's weird, but whatever. And they are doing another Peter Pan, which the only reason I'm excited about that is because David Lowery is the director of it, and I really liked Pete's Dragon, and he has a big passion for Peter Pan, so that makes me interested in what he will do. And again, I think it'll feel small and it'll feel intimate, and so that's interesting to me. But we'll see. We don't even know if all of these projects will get off the ground. We really don't. I mean, a lot of movies are announced and they don't actually get made. So I don't know. But I'm not anti-remake as a whole. I'm not anti-Disney remake as a whole. I just and so when it comes to the Lion King, I have no interest in it. I don't really like it. I don't like that they're doing it, but I don't hate it either, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I wish that they would. You know what they should do is they should remake Pocahontas and actually like do it right. But it would have to be an R-rated movie probably if they did. So because the true story is that brutal. So, but even if they didn't make it quite so brutal, if they really like told her story and were careful about how they cut it and edited it and stuff like that, like make it a PG-13. I mean that I think would actually be cool. Hunchback of Notre Dame, I think you could easily make that live action, get rid of those stupid gargoyles. But for some reason they want to stick to Lion King. The movie with no, I guess Bambi will be the next on their list. So, all right, well, I guess that's all I have to say. It's an interesting thing. I mean, I guess the thing we have to always remember is that we are just getting so many more. It feels like we're getting so many remakes, sequels, prequels, all of that than we ever used to be. But the truth is we're just getting so many more movies than we ever got, even in animation. In 1984, there wasn't a single animated film, not even small, not even nothing, none released in the US. Not a single one. Can you imagine? And 1987, there were only 3. G.I. Joe, I think there was a G.I. Joe movie, The Brave Little Toaster, and Care Bears. That is it. Care Bears in Wonderland, I think it is, in 87. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, now we have a major animated film released every single month, and every genre is like that. We get 7 superhero movies. We get, we're getting westerns now. We're getting, I mean, just every genre. And so it's just as a movie fan, it's a great time to be alive. And we're actually getting tons of original concept films. It just feels like we're getting so many sequels and remakes and reboots and everything like that, because a lot of those original concept films are indie films that you have to kind of hunt for, but also like something like Kubo and the Two Strings, but also we're just getting more movies, and so it feels like, yes, we're getting more sequels, but we're also getting more of everything. So that's just something to keep in mind. But this year has just been so crazy. It's been one of the best years ever for animation, both budget, box office wise, and the content. So, I actually think Bambi could be cool, environmental, and sad message could be powerful. The book is 100 times better than the movie, in my opinion. Huh. Cool. I've never read the book, so that's interesting. I know Walt loved it, so he loved that book. And so kind of makes sense. I just wonder when we're going to get our Saludos Amigos live action remake. I mean, come on. They're all about diversity, right, Disney? So, yeah, or they certainly could do a Robin Hood movie. I'm surprised they haven't announced that. But I guess Robin Hood isn't one of those movies that Disney like really respects out of their canon. So, but I guess Black Cauldron isn't either. So, and they're announced that. So who knows? It just depends on if these movies keep making money. And I am excited that Pete's Dragon has now officially doubled its budget as far as money. So that makes me happy because I loved that movie. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say, I think, about all of that. So yeah, Lion King. Wish they weren't doing it. Not really interested in it, but I'm not really upset either. So there you go. What are you going to do? So I think if there aren't any more questions, I hope you all have a good night, and just put in the comment section. I will be monitoring it, and thanks so much. So and this Sunday, I'm doing a special podcast with Tom Blakeney, and we are going to talk the best of 2016 so far. So that one is going to be super fun. So thanks. Bye.